I guess probably the biggest positive you've been able to get a bunch of reps for some guys down the line
Right.
because not having Trox and those guys out there.
Right. Yeah, I think it's there's some good and some bad to it. There's some guys that really you'd like to have some more work and to improve on some of the things that we kind of pointed out that they need to improve on from a year ago. And but it's allowed us to get a lot of younger guys. And really, instead of those reps they've had to get a little bit more. So that's been a plus because we got to develop some depth in the room.
How have those guys done so far?
Oh, at times, we've got some guys that, that probably have improved this spring, have made a huge jump. Cam Stuntz has had a really good spring. Tate Johnson has done really well. Avery Jernigan's gotten better. Killian's been able to get more reps because, just to fill in the spots that we're going. So that has helped him, and he's improved. So some guys that have been able to make some jumps that were big for us.
Is it fair to say that, from Keyshawn says he wants to make Tank Bigsby how he kind of builds the offense up. And it seems like you guys want to go ground and pound. If so, is that fair? Then two, if it is, how do you get the offensive line to a position where it can maintain the type of offense?
Well, I think first of all, we've got to get everybody back, and that's and healthy. So we get those guys back, and a lot of experience there, bringing back, but. And not just Tank. I think our philosophy as a whole group is to be a physical offense. That's the identity that you want, the identity you have to have in this league. It's what Auburn's identity should be, and that's who we want to be. That's who Coach Harsher wants to be, and not just us as offensive coaches. That's what we want this program to be, so I think we focus on that, but we got to do our part. We all work together in that, and our job is to block and give those guys a chance to be physical. So,
can an offense that is run first win in today's spread offense world?
I think there's no question. I think the thing that that you have to be able to do, you got to be able to protect the runs with different play actions, with different pocket movements, and those type things. And there's no question in my mind that you can still win that way.
How different of a personality shift is that from maybe what high schools and a lot of colleges are doing with the spread stuff? How different of a mentality?
Well, I don't know how much different it is. I mean, most successful teams, whether they're spread or whether they put 4 tight ends out there, it doesn't really matter. They want to be physical if they're going to be successful. So, the one thing about us, and the ability to be in a pro style and an attacking pro style offense that Coach Harsin wants, there's going to be an element of spread, but what you don't want to lose is the element of physicality and taking that to the park every Saturday.
How beneficial has it been to be in essentially the same system for the second year in a row for these guys as they kind of take a step forward?
Well, it's been huge. I think one of the biggest things, and I'll just talk about the offensive line. I think they've had 3 or 4 different line coaches in consecutive years before I got here, and just hearing the same verbiage, same things over and over again has been a big plus for them, and they definitely feel more comfortable with that. So that's been big, and offensive line is such a repetition position, and not only the physical part of the repetition, but the mental part and the communication part is way light years ahead than it was a year ago.
You've cross-trained an awful lot of guys working at different spots. Just how do you feel about locking guys in, or would you rather do you want to just be able to play the next man up after the first 5?
Yeah, you want to play. You want to get to where you play. You want to have your best guy up always, and there's a time and place for that. You'd like to build enough depth, and you'd like to build enough where you have people who can get the job done at all the positions, that can develop some competition, that they're in that spot, and whether you play them or you don't play them, they're in their spot that they've got a lot of reps at. To do that, you got to have a lot of depth. If not, then you got to have some guys that can play multiple spots. You guys have been around this and know what I'm getting at. So I think we're getting a little bit closer to being able to say, hey, you're a this or you're a that, learn that, instead of having a guy that, hey, man, you're going to have to get some reps at left guard, even though you're a right tackle, where if someone goes down, we're able to get our next best guys out there. So I think we're getting closer, and that's what a lot of this spring has been. And that's back to your question about it's been a help that those guys have been able to get some reps to kind of develop that.
Does that make Alex Jackson really valuable, though, because he's a guy that has played really off, other than center, he's played all positions?
Yeah, but I think you got to figure out where in some fairness to some guys, and I don't think we ever were able to get this done a year ago. Just you got to be able to go somewhere and play something and get decent at that, and then from there kind of if it's too much of that, then what are you getting good at, So I think but definitely a guy that can play multiple spots is a plus.
Well, you mentioned Cam Stutz improved this spring. Where's he mainly working at, and what's he improved on the most?
Well, he's been at left guard, and that's where he's worked, and the fact that he's probably the best thing Cam's done is that he's prepared. He is taking the meeting to walkthrough, to individual, to team, to scrimmage, and from fundamentals to the schematics of the play, he's done a great job of that. So, I think he's an example of take what we teach, work at it in all the little segments that we have planned out, and then execute it when you get in a scrimmage setting, which is closest thing you can get to a game, and that's what he's done.
How's Harris coming along?
Hey, you know what? You get lost sometimes thinking that he should be getting ready for the prom right now, but he's done well. You see the talent there, and just getting caught up on what to do, and he's going to be fine.
You talked about Cam. Is he kind of a guy now that gets a little bit lost? Because that's kind of how offensive line has been in the past, where it took a guy for he's kind of developed as he's come along, but now guys don't get that much time anymore, do they?
No, they don't. And Cam's probably earlier when I was talking about having a different guy than another guy than another, maybe Cam's a good example of having a guy for a second year in a row. And maybe that's why it's kind of starting to click for him. But he's had a really good spring.
On the other side of some of the guys getting more reps with the injuries, how does it affect guys like Trox and his ability? You're going to look at him at both places, or is he just going to be more of a left?
Because he's done it, and Trox can handle that. He's done that for us before. He'll be able to play both, and Nick and Trox, they both are able to get a lot of individual work. So they've been able to do a lot of that stuff during spring. So that part's been good. It's not like they've been cold feet, not been able to go. Keandre Jones was having the best spring that he had, and he got a little banged up last. So look forward to trying to get him back maybe this last week. Hopefully, we'll see what happens there. But he was having a good spring too, and kind of in the same boat with Stutz. It was you were seeing kind of the same stuff a little bit. So, but those guys being able to get individual work's been big, and obviously they haven't been able to go in team settings, but that'll come.
Is there any concerns with Nick and Trox? I mean, they're so experienced. Any concern with them missing this time in the spring, or you feel like they'll come back in the summer and be
No,
fine?
I think that's probably been the biggest thing since I started coaching, of how important summer preparation is with your team, and what your players accomplish and get done heading into camp, and it'll be big for those two guys because they do miss some of the reps now, that they'll be able to get team reps and the player run things and those type stuff. So the preparation part of that heading into camp will be huge, and I think that's probably been the biggest change in football, is how much your players are able to get done. The good teams, the players do a great job of having themselves ready when they come into fall camp.
When you look at your offensive line last year, all those guys coming back, how do you evaluate them? What are the things that you look at on the film and say, we've got to get better at this no matter what?
Yeah, we had a goal of, obviously communication. and being tied together. You know, one of the things I think when you look at good offensive lines, the first thing jumps out, they're tied together. They may be wrong, but if they're all wrong together, the normal person doesn't realize they're wrong, right? You know, you know, getting tied together and just the speed of how we play, the get off, to being able to run. We've put a huge emphasis on that. We've improved there. Some guys are limited with it because they don't run real well, so they've had to really try to get to a little bit better level. Some of the guys that can run well wanted to make that one of their strengths, and we've kind of put a lot of emphasis on it, and those have been a big part. But communication and getting tied together, and that's kind of been a little bit of the challenge because Nick's a returning center, and that position is so hard because he's got front side, back side together, and Jaleel and Tate and Avery, they've really done a good job of that this spring.
You talked about Killian and settling into a position, having him at left tackle, focusing on left tackle. Has that been a big benefit for him?
Yeah, I think so. He's understanding the technique of playing the position. He can understand me better, you know, a little bit. I think there was a time there when he first got here. I don't know how well he understood me in my broken English, but he understands me better now, and he's gotten better and better. He's gotten better and better since we got here. Number one thing is he got confident in his health. He was hurt, and as he gained confidence in that, then he was able to kind of gain confidence in what he's doing, and now he's kind of able to kind of go play a little bit.
Is he, from a physical, athletic standpoint, he's kind of the classic left tackle for this group?
Yeah, that's what he is. That's what he is. I mean, he's our best pass protector, and he's got the length, he's got the athletic ability, and that's what he is.
What makes offensive line? I was asking about Harris earlier. What makes offensive line such a tough position group to get on the field as a freshman?
Well, I think a couple. Well, just my opinion. I think number one, if you just look at a high school offensive lineman, his senior year, he may play against 3, 2 at the max guys that are college D linemen. You go watch a skill guy go play. He may play against 7 or 8 DBs or whatever that are going to play at a higher level. And so and then you think about all the camps and the 7-on-7s and things they do year round. I think that changes. Then again, back to the repetition with offensive line, and communication and terminology is so important. And those guys coming in new, they've heard this play called slant for 4 years of high school, and now it's called whatever. I think all that just to them get to a point where they can play fast and physical, and then obviously the growing up and getting stronger. So there's a lot of things there that kind of slow that down.
Going back to the continuity, how much better can a group get from one year, just staying same coach, same terminology, same system, just the same guys? I mean, how much does that matter in terms of?
A lot. I think they can get a lot better today than they were Saturday.
Yeah.
So over the course of the year, if you work it, you know, the key is, I think, I don't have just what we try to focus on is you know, hey man, don't try to get better at the whole thing at one time. I think a lot of times guys that get kind of overwhelmed, they try to improve everything day by, you know, from each day. I mean, what am I going to be a little bit better at and understand a little bit better today, and then a little bit here, and then a little bit here. And if you're, you know, I know this is cliche-ish, but if you're 1% better every day, then in 60 days, you got a chance to be a decent player. So, and as a unit, it's the same thing. So, I think it's our job to what do we need to focus on, improve on, what's important for us to get better at today, and kind of go there.